Hey, what's going on, Poké fans? Welcome back to the Path to the Peak YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at Vikavolt, Ludicolo, Inteleon deck list that I played in today's Sunday Open tournament, one of the tournaments on limitless.com webpage where you can just find a lot of different tournaments where you can play for free. What I was actually playing last 2 days was the CGI, and I was not quite happy with the TCGO algorithm and with the randomness of the CGI, so I actually decided to switch a little bit to the Vikavolt because I like those, decks. In the past, I played a lot Seismitoad Giratina. I also played a lot Seismitoad with Crobat in the past, and I had a lot of success with those decks. So also I played Darkrai Giratina, for example. So I decided actually to try to bring back the Vikavolt that I also used like when the first card was released in the Darkness Ablaze set. And I even managed to win some tournaments at my local league with it. So I decided basically to add 2 Ludicolos with that enthusiastic dance so I can have a little bit more chance to have better matchups against some decks. I managed to win 5 games and I lost 3 games. 6 wins was needed for the top cut or the Swiss 2. 18 points or more. I ended up with 15 points, unfortunately. And I had a chance to actually beat the guy who was playing Dragapult VMAX. The only thing that I needed to win basically a game was heads on the Crushing Hammer. I flipped 3 tails in a row and unfortunately I couldn't win that matchup. And the match that I regret the most was the CGI matchup where I actually bricked. I started out with Sobble and I only had Lotad, and that was pretty much it for like 2 turns, and I couldn't get that Vikavolt item lock, and my opponent managed to build up 3 CGIs, and I was unfortunately blasted and I couldn't recover from it. It was no way for me to get back out of that position. But basically with the Vikavolt you can paralyze Bolt for 50, right? But if you can add 100 more damage with Ludicolo Enthusiastic Dance, then the damage can be increased up to 150. So theoretically with 150 damage, you're one-hitting knocking out your opponent's Suicune V as example, and they cannot play item cards. And you're only doing that for 2 energy cards, which is pretty broken. In some other matchups, for example against Single Strike or Shifu, if you manage to item lock them fast enough, and if you manage to control the energy flow, and if you are managed to discard those single strike energy cards, and if they cannot play Urn of Vitality, you're pretty much gonna win the game. And I actually did that twice in today's tournament. So the strategy of the deck is pretty much to paralyze bolt your opponent, to add extra a little bit of damage snipe with a quick shotting, and to have that Ludicolo Enthusiastic Dance ability for extra 100 damage. And that's pretty much the deck list. It's not the top competitive, but I'm not a big fan of the top competitive decks. I always like to play rogue decks, and this is the deck list that I actually used in today's video, where I ended up in the top 40, actually at the 40 place, actually at the, in the top 40. So deck plays 4 Vikavolts, 2-1-2 line of the Ludicolo. And what I also forget to mention is that with Super Zap Cannon, you can go for 190 plus Ludicolo for 100, and if you have 1 ping or 2 pings, you can even one-hit knockout 330 HP single strike, actually VMAX Pokemons without too many problems. So that's the reason why I tried to power up Vikavolt with Ludicolo. 4-3-2-1 line of the Sobble, Drizzile, Inteleon, and Shady Dealings Inteleon. Pretty much what you would expect from today's decks, especially from the decks that are heavily tagged with some of the Fan of Waves, for example, and the Crushing Hammer and the Raihan cards and stuff like that. Additionally, for Pokemon setup, I played 4 copies of Level Ball, 2 copies of Quick Ball, and 4 copies of Evolution Incense. Additionally, also 4 copies of Crushing Hammer, as well as the 1 copy of Fan of Waves. Fan of Waves is actually a very good card. Turn 1, you're hitting your opponent. Turn 1, there's attaching special energy card. Turn 2, you have Drizzile plus, let's say, best case scenario, energy supporter. You're drizzling for the Fan of Waves. You're shuffling your opponent energy in the bottom of their deck. You're playing Marnie in the base case scenario. You're drawing 5 cards. You're putting your opponent down to 4. You're hitting for 50. You're paralyzing both them. And, you know, that's the best case scenario for the build. Also 2 rare candies, so we can go from the Lotad into Ludicolo expressly, but also if we drew Lombre from the top of the deck, we can play that ability and put it on the bench, which is also very, very interesting and very cool. 2 super scoop up nets, so we can scoop up either way Ludicolo or Inteleons from the play, so we can have more of those abilities available, which is always cool. 1 copy of Bird Keeper, switch your active Vikavolt to another Vikavolt, draft 3 cards, 2 copies of Boss's Orders, 4 Marnie, 2 copies of Professor Research, following that with 1 copy of Raihan for that extra energy acceleration. In best case scenario, we have energy attached on our bench at Vikavolt. We have 2 energies on our active Vikavolt. We decided to hit our opponent, let's say with a Super Zap Cannon. We knock them out, we have next turn energy in a discard pile, and all we need is basically energy plus Raihan, and we are good to go for another 190, potentially even more with a Ludicolo, so pretty interesting combo and tech as well. 2 Cape of Toughness, so we can have 50 extra HP on our Vikavolt, and then 4/4/2 line of Capture Energy, Speed Lightning Energy, and regular Lightning Energy cards. And that's pretty much the deck list that I used in today's tournament, and also I'm showing you it right now in this video. Please consider checking ccgcastle.com if you're looking maybe for any of these cards. Evolving Skies singles just being restocked, so I highly recommend it to check that out. Prices are rock bottom. I already ordered some of the singles like Umbreon VMAX and stuff like that for my deck. And yeah, you should definitely check that out. You should also consider subscribing to the channel for more videos. If you already didn't, you can also hit the thumbs up and smash that notification bell so you don't miss any future video. I will try to play just one game with this deck, because there is no point playing more than that, because it will take me probably couple more hours to find a player who will not concede on the ladder against item lock. It is so frustrating, I know, but I will just try to show you at least a little bit of the deck and how the deck works in the action. So see you in the game. Okay, not bad opening hand. At least I have Capture Energy and Drizzile, so maybe I can do something out of it, like Level Ball for Sobble, Capture Energy into another Sobble, and pass the turn. Oof. This looks really bad for my opponent, meaning that I will just put the Lotad in play and Level Ball another Sobble for now. So I have 2 Ludicolos and how many rare candies? 2. Okay, not bad. If I item lock him turn 2, it's probably going to be good for me, bad for him. Again, I'm not quite sure if he is playing a Leafeon VMAX deck. If so, that is actually going to be a really bad matchup for me. Yeah, it is Leafeon, because he can simply one-hit knock on my Vikavolt easily, as long as the Galar Mine stays in play. But I can also one-hit knock on Leafeon with that Super Zap Canyon for 290 with my Ludicolo. Actually, even VMAX can be knocked out. That's even more broken. Okay, energy attachment for sure. One Drizzile into the another Drizzile, and that another Drizzile needs to be for some sort of a draw support. To be fair enough, I'm also thinking about research in this case, but then I'm losing Inteleon. I think that Marnie is pretty safe play as well, as long as I can hit that. Yeah, let's go for one more Sobble on the bench. And then Marnie for 5. Okay, I can item lock him. And I can even next turn knock him out. For now, I'm just gonna paralyze bolt him. He won't be able to retreat. Actually, in theory, he can retreat, but it's okay. I can just paralyze bolt. If I will research for 7 next turn, then I will probably just candy into Ludicolo, research into 7, but I really don't want to do that. I really want to find a boss's orders, and he managed to find himself a boss's orders. Okay, into Lotad and greeting calls. Just another rare candy as the top deck. There is Gallermine in play. Yep, correctly. We cannot retreat as long as the Gallermine stays in play. Ooh, that was a very good play out of him. I completely forget about that. So, hopefully he won't have another boss's orders, but theoretically he can have it. Easily with that Sobble on the bench. Into Drizzile for the boss, and switch Air Balloon into VMAX, and good night Vikavolt. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. Ah, Drizzile top deck, finally. I think I need to... Actually, Bird Keeper is a good play here. Bird Keeper was a very good top deck here. I'm gonna ping for 20. I desperately need to find that energy card. So I'm just gonna hit for 50 more, like one more turn, maybe even 2 more turns. Actually, what I want to do next, I will probably research next turn. Yeah, I will research this turn. No, I will research next turn. Not this turn, actually next turn. I can prepare knockout on Crobat. So I can next turn basically pull 2 prizes out of the Crobat. And then I can try to rare candy into Ludicolo, and if I get lucky enough for the boss's orders, that will be a very good play. So 2 damage counters, Crobat goes away. No sign of the boss. At least I do have energy card. So whatever he promotes in the active position will be knocked out. So one heads into coin flip. And only question remains, do I want to go with the research? Simple answer is nope. I don't, because he still don't have VMAX. And I'm down to 3 prize cards. And I only need to knock one of the VMAXs and the game is over. So that's the worst case scenario. On the other side, he can hit for like 150 if he get lucky with the coin flip. If not, all I really need is a Super Zap Canyon and I can knock him out, which is probably going to be my play here. But taking the closer look here, what I can do, I can disrupt his grass energy out of the benched Leafeon. Then I can go into my Ludicolo, hit for extra 100 damage, ping for 20 with Inteleon, get Scoop Up Net, and another Inteleon, and knock the Leafeon out, and pretty much win the game. So that's how powerful Vikavolt really is. Basically, once you manage to set up with this deck, you're not going to have too many problems. All you really need is turn 1 Vikavolt. Either way, Capture Energy or Speed Lightning Energy. Capture Energy would be a perfect case scenario, so you can set up either way another Lotad or another Sobble on the bench. Once you have that, you are good to go turn 2 with that Speed Lightning Energy. And then you can start paralyzing both your opponent. And in this case, he actually locked himself with that Color Mine, so he couldn't simply get out of it. But overall, this is a pretty interesting deck list. I mean, we all know that the Vikavolt can be used and played with just Inteleon lineup, and that deck is actually a good deck, a decent deck. But here in today's video, I also decided to share the deck list that I use in my that I used today for that Sunday Open Limitless tournament, where I end up at top 40 with 5 victories and 3 defeats. I lost 2 games due to the complete brick. I didn't have nothing, and the third game was very close. So overall, deck list is pretty decent, but still I wouldn't recommend it to use, because I still think that, you know, it needs to be tweaked a lot more. And I think that those tails and the Crushing Hammers that actually served me today, especially against the Dragapult, where I only needed 1 heads on the coin flip to win the game and to enter the Swiss 2, I simply couldn't get. I flipped 3 tails in a row and I simply lost the game due to it. So yeah, that's how it is. And also, when you're not starting first, if you're playing versus Dragapult and if your opponent managed to disrupt your Vikavolt energy attachment, you're pretty much losing the game in many cases. So overall, interesting deck list that I just wanted to share with you on my YouTube channel. So thank you guys for your time and for watching this video. If you already didn't, please consider subscribing to the channel for more videos. Hit the thumbs up and that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And yeah, we'll see you definitely next time. So till then, have a nice day and goodbye.